wealthy, but they don't have a good set of principles to do it by. Wealth is the thing that you really want.
Akira. He's got clout.
Wealth is assets that earn while you sleep. Wealth is the factory with the robots that's cranking out things. Wealth is the computer program that's running at night that's serving other customers. Wealth is even money in the bank that is being reinvested into other assets and into other businesses. Even a house can be a form of wealth because you can rent it out. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. But really the reason you want wealth is because it buys you freedom. The purpose of wealth is freedom. So you don't have to wear a tie like a collar around your neck. So you don't have to wake up at 7 a.m. and rush to work and sit in commute traffic. So you don't have to waste away your entire life grinding all the productive hours away to a soulless job that doesn't fulfill you. It's really just so that you are your own sovereign individual. You're not going to get that unless you really want it. And the entire world wants it. And the entire world is working hard at it. And to some extent it is competitive. It's a positive sum game, but there are competitive elements to it because there's a finite amount of resources right now in society, and to get the resources to do what you want, you have to stand out. Money is how we transfer wealth. Money is social credits. It is the ability to have credits and debits on other people's time. If I do my job right, if I create value for society, society says, oh, thank you. We owe you something in the future for the work that you did in the past. Here's a little IOU. Let's call that money. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. There are fundamentally two huge games in life that people play. One is the money game, because money is not going to solve all your problems, but it's going to solve all your money problems. People know that. They realize that, so they want to make money. But at the same time, many of them deep down believe that they can't make it. They don't want any wealth creation to happen. They sort of virtue signal by attacking the whole enterprise by saying, well, making money is evil and you shouldn't do it, blah, blah, blah. They're actually playing the other game, which is a status game. They're trying to be high status in the eyes of other people watching. Status is just your ranking in the social hierarchy. Status is just your ranking in the social hierarchy. So wealth is not a zero-sum game. Everybody in the world can have a house. Because you have a house doesn't take away from my ability to have a house. If anything, the more houses that are built, the easier it becomes to build houses. The more we know about building houses, the more people that can have houses. So wealth is a very positive sum game. Status, on the other hand, is a zero-sum game. It's a very old game. We've been playing it since monkey tribes, and it's hierarchical. Who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. And for number three to move to number two has to move out of that slot. So status is a zero-sum game. Politics is an example of a status game. Even sports is an example of a status game. To be the winner, there must be a loser. I don't fundamentally love status games. They play an important role in our society, so we figure out who's in charge. But fundamentally, you play them because they're a necessary evil. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. Wealth is businesses and assets that can earn while you sleep. But really the reason you want wealth is because it buys you freedom. The purpose of wealth is freedom. Wealth is wealth is subtle competition going on between status and wealth. For example, when journalists attack rich people, they're really bidding for status. They're saying, no, the people are more important, and I, the journalist, represents the people, and therefore I am more important. The problem is that by playing these status games, to win at a status game, you have to put somebody else down. That's why you should avoid status games in your life, because they make you into an angry, combative person. You're always fighting to put other people down, to put yourself and the people that you like up. Just realize that most of the times when you're trying to create wealth, you're actually getting attacked by someone else, and they're trying to look like a goody two-shoes, but really what they're doing is they're trying to up their own status at your expense. They're just playing a different game, and it's a worse game. It's a zero-sum game instead of a positive-sum game.
Akira. He's got clout.
There's this notion that making money is evil. It's like rooted all the way back down to money is the root of all evil. People think that the bankers steal our money. And, it's somewhat true in that in a lot of the world, there's a lot of theft going on all the time. The history of the world, in some sense, is this predator-prey relationship between makers and takers. There are people who go out and create things and build things and work hard on things, and then there are people who come along and feed with a sword or a gun or taxes or crony capitalism or communism. There's all these different methods to steal. Even in nature, there are more parasites than there are non-parasitical organisms. You have a ton of parasites in you who are living off of you, and the better ones are symbiotic and giving something back, but there are a lot that are just taking. That's just the nature of how any complex system is built. But what I am basically focused on is true wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal, methods to steal, methods to steal. There's all these different methods to steal. True wealth creation. There's all these different methods to steal. It's not about taking money. It's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's from creating abundance. Obviously, there's not a finite number of jobs or a finite amount of wealth. Otherwise, we will still be sitting around in caves, figuring out how to divide up pieces of firewood and, the occasional dead deer. Most of the wealth in civilization, in fact, not most, basically all of it has been created. And it got created from somewhere. It got created from people. It got created from technology. It got created from productivity. It got created from hard work. So this idea that is stolen is, I think, this horrible zero-sum game that people who are trying to gain status play. But the reality is, everyone can be rich. We can see that by seeing that in the first world, everyone is basically richer than almost anyone who was alive 200 years ago. 200 years ago, nobody had antibiotics, nobody had cars, nobody had electricity. So all of these things are inventions that have made us wealthier as a species. Today, I would rather be a poor person in a first world country than be a rich person in Louis XIV's France. And that's just because of wealth creation. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. Can be rich. Can be rich. Everybody can be wealthy. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. It's not about taking money. It's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's from creating abundance. The engine of technology is science that is applied for the purpose of creating abundance. I think fundamentally everybody can be wealthy. And the thought experiment I want you to think through is, imagine if everybody had the knowledge of a good software engineer and a good hardware engineer. If you could go out there and you could build robots and computers and bridges and program them, let's say every human knew how to do that. What do you think society would look like in 20 years? My guess is what would happen is we would build robots, machines, software, and hardware to do everything, and we would all be living in massive abundance. We would essentially be retired in the sense that none of us would have to work for any of the basics. We'd even have robotic nurses, machine-driven hospitals. We'd have self-driving cars. We'd have farms that are 100% automated. We'd have clean energy. At that point, we could use technology breakthroughs to get everything that we wanted. And if anyone is still working at that point, they're working as a form of expressing their creativity, okay? Because it's in them to contribute and to build and design things. But I don't think capitalism is evil. Capitalism is actually believes true wealth creation. Everyone can be rich, can be rich, can be rich. Everybody can be wealthy. True wealth creation. Everyone can be rich. It's not about taking money, it's not about taking something from somebody else, but it's from creating abundance. Abundance. To get everything that we wanted. Abundance. Abundance. To get everything that we wanted. Overall, capitalism is intrinsic to the human species. Capitalism is not something we invented. Capitalism is not even something we discovered. It is innate to us in every exchange that we have. When you and I exchange information, I want some information back from you, I give you information, you give me information. If we weren't having a good information exchange, you'd go talk to somebody else. So the notion of exchange and keeping track of credits and debits, this is built into us as flexible social animals. We are the only animals in the animal kingdom that cooperate across genetic boundaries. Most animals don't even cooperate. But when they do, they cooperate only in packs where they co-evolve together and they share blood, so they have some shared interest. Humans don't have that. Humans don't have that. I can cooperate with you guys. One of you is a Serbian, the other one is a Persian by origin, I'm Indian by origin. We have very little blood in common, basically none, but we still cooperate. And what lets us cooperate? It's because we can keep track of debits and credits, who put in how much work, who contributed how much. That's all free market capitalism is. So I strongly believe that it is innate to the human species, and we are going to create more and more wealth and abundance for everybody. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. If you don't want it, that's fine, then you opt out of the game. But don't try and put down the people who are playing the game. Who are playing the game. Because that's the game that keeps you in a comfortable, warm bed at night. That's the game that keeps a roof over your head. That's the game that keeps your supermarket stocked. That's the game that keeps the iPhone buzzing in your pocket. It is a beautiful game that is worth playing ethically, rationally, morally, socially for the human race, and it's going to continue to make us all richer and richer until we have massive wealth creation for anybody who wants it. The US is a very popular country for immigrants because it's the American dream. Anyone can come here pretty poor and then work really hard and make money and get wealthy. The definition of wealth is different for different people. A first world citizen's definition of wealth might be, I have to make millions of dollars and I'm completely done. Whereas to a third world poor immigrant just entering the country, and we were poor immigrants who came here when I was fairly young, wealth may just be a much lower number. It may just be like I don't have to work a manual labor job for the rest of my life that I don't want to work. But groups that despise it will essentially bring the entire group down to that level. If you get too many takers and not enough makers, society falls apart. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. You end up with a communist country. Look at Venezuela, right? They were so busy taking and dividing and reallocating that people are literally starving in the streets and losing kilograms of body weight every year just through sheer starvation. Another way to think about it is imagine an organism that has too many parasites. you actually need some small number of parasites to stay healthy, and you need a lot of symbiotes, like all the mitochondria in all of our cells that help us respirate and burn oxygen. These are symbiotes that help us survive. We couldn't survive without them. But to me, those are partners in the wealth creation that creates the human body. But if you just were filled with parasites that were purely parasitical, you would die. You would die. Any organism can only withstand a small number of parasites. And when the parasitic element gets too far out of control, you die. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. Everybody can be wealthy, everybody can be retired, everybody can be successful. It is merely a question of education and desire. You have to want it. I'm talking about ethical wealth creation. I'm not talking about monopolies. I'm not talking about crony capitalism. I'm not talking about mispriced externalities like the environment. I'm talking about free minds and free markets, small-scale exchange between humans that's voluntary and doesn't have an outsized impact on others. But I think that kind of wealth creation, if a society does not respect it, if a group does not respect it, that society will plunge into ruin and darkness. Obviously, we want to be wealthy, and we want to get there in this lifetime without having to rely on luck.
Akira.
A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. You know, I like to think that if I lost all my money and if you drop me on a random street in any English-speaking country, within 5 to 10 years, I'd be wealthy again, right? Because it's just a skill set that I've developed and I think anyone can develop. You know, in 1,000 parallel universes, you want to be wealthy in 999 of them. You don't want to be wealthy in the 50 of them where you got lucky. So we want to factor luck out of it. There's really 4 kinds of luck. Blind luck, where I just got lucky because something completely out of my control happened. It's fortune, that's fate, etc. Then there's luck that kind of comes through persistence, hard work, hustle, motion, which is when you're just running around creating lots of opportunities, you're generating a lot of energy, you're doing a lot of things. Lots of things will just get stirred up in the dust. It's almost like mixing a petri dish and seeing what combines, or mixing a bunch of reagents and seeing what combines. You're just generating enough force and hustle and energy that luck will sort of find you. A third way is that you just become very good at spotting luck. So if you are very skilled in a field, you will notice when a lucky break happens in that field when other people who aren't attuned to it won't notice. So you become sensitive to luck, and that's through skill and knowledge and work. People think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. And then the last kind of luck is the weirdest, hardest kind, but that's what we want to talk about, which is where you build a unique character, a unique brand, a unique mindset, where then luck finds you. Luck finds you. For example, let's say that you're the best person in the world at deep sea underwater diving, and you're known to take on deep sea underwater dives that nobody else will even attempt to dare. And then by sheer luck, somebody finds a sunken treasure ship off the coast they can't get at, well, their luck just became your luck because they're going to come to you to get that treasure and you're going to get paid for it. Now that's an extreme example, but it's just showing how like the person who got lucky by finding the treasure chest, that was blind luck, but them coming to you and asking you to extract it and having to give you half, that's not luck. You kind of created your own luck. You put yourself in a position to be able to capitalize on that luck or to attract that luck when nobody else has created that opportunity for themselves. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. When we talk about without getting lucky, we want to be deterministic. We don't want to leave it to chance. I don't think it's impossible. I think that you may have to work a little bit harder at it given your starting circumstances. I mean, remember, I started as a poor kid in India, right? So if I can make it, anybody can. Now, obviously, I had all my limbs and I had my mental faculties and I did have an education. So there are some prerequisites you can't get past. But if you're listening to this, you probably have the requisite means at your disposal, which is a functioning body and a functioning mind. And I've encountered plenty of bad luck along the way. First little fortune that I made, I instantly lost in the stock market. The second, I got cheated by my business partners. It's only the third time around has been a charm, and even then, it has been a slow and steady struggle. I haven't made money in my life in one giant payout. It's always been a whole bunch of small things kind of piling up. So it's more about consistently creating wealth by creating businesses and creating opportunities and creating investments. It hasn't been like a giant one-off thing. My personal wealth has not been generated by one big year. It just sort of stacks up little bit chips at a time. More options, more businesses, more investments, more things I can do. It's going to be a long lifetime of learning, of reading, of creating that's just going to compound. People think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. A lot of people think making money is about luck. It's not. It's about becoming the kind of person that makes money. So we're talking about getting wealthy so you can retire. So you have your freedom. Not retire in the sense that you don't do anything, but in the sense that you don't have to be any place you don't want to be. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And you can wake up when you want. You can sleep when you want. You don't have a boss. That's freedom. So we're talking about enough wealth to get to freedom. And especially thanks to the internet these days, those opportunities are massively abundant. I, in fact, have too many ways to make money. I don't have enough time. I literally have opportunities pouring out of my ears. And the thing I keep running out of is time. There's just so many ways to create wealth, to create products, to create businesses, to create opportunities, and to, as a byproduct, get paid by society that I just can't even handle it all.
I think it's pretty interesting that the first three kinds of luck, there are very common cliches for them that everybody knows. And then for that last kind of luck that comes to you out of the unique way that you act, there's no real cliche for it. For the first three kinds, there's dumb luck or blind luck. The second kind of luck, there's the cliche that fortune favors the bold. The third kind of luck, people say that chance favors the prepared mind. But for the fourth kind of luck, there is not really a common cliche out there that matches the unique character of your action, which I think is interesting and perhaps an opportunity. And it also just shows that people aren't necessarily taking advantage of that kind of luck the way they should be.
I think also at that point, it starts becoming so deterministic that it stops being luck. So the definition starts fading from luck to destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. One of the things I think that is important to making money, you want the kind of reputation that makes people do deals through you. If you're a great diver, then treasure hunters will come and give you a piece of treasure for your diving skills. If you're a trusted, reliable, high integrity, long-term thinking deal maker, then when other people want to do deals, but they don't know how to do them in a trustworthy manner with strangers, they will literally approach you and give you a cut of the deal or offer you a unique deal just because of the integrity and reputation that you've built up. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. Your character, your reputation, these are things that you can build that then will let you take advantages of opportunities that other people may characterize as lucky, but you know that it wasn't luck. But you know that it wasn't luck. Your character becomes your destiny. Your character becomes your destiny. The world is a very efficient place, so everyone has dug through all the obvious places to dig. And so to find something that's new and novel and uncovered, it helps to be operating on a frontier. You have to be a little eccentric to be out on the frontier by yourself. And then you just have to be willing to dig deeper than other people do, deeper than seems irrational just because you're interested. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny. You build your character in a certain way, and then your character becomes your destiny. Luck to destiny. Luck to destiny.
Akira. He's got clout.
The first point was about how you're not going to get rich. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain your financial freedom.
This is probably one of the absolute most important points. People seem to think that you can create wealth and make money through work. It's probably not going to work. There are many reasons for that, but the most basic is just that your inputs are very closely tied to your output. In almost any salaried job, even one that's paying a lot per hour, like a lawyer or a doctor, you're still putting in the hours, and every hour you get paid. So what that means is when you're sleeping, you're not earning. When you're retired, you're not earning. When you're on vacation, you're not earning. And you can't earn non-linearly.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business. You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity to gain your financial freedom. Your financial freedom.
If you look at even doctors who get rich, like really rich, it's because they open a business. They open like a private practice, and that private practice builds a brand. Essentially, you're working for somebody else. And that person is taking on the risk and has the accountability and the intellectual property and the brand. So they're just not going to pay you enough. They're going to pay you the bare minimum that they have to get you to do the job. And that can be a high bare minimum, but it's still not going to be true wealth where you're retired. You're not creating new things for society. You're just doing things over and over. You're essentially replaceable because you're now doing a set role. Most set roles can be taught. If they can be taught, like in a school, then eventually you'll be competing with someone who's got more recent knowledge, who's been taught, and is coming in to replace you. You're much more likely to be doing a job that can be eventually replaced by a robot or by AI.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, piece of the business. You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity to gain your financial freedom. Your financial freedom.
You really just want a job or a career or a profession where your inputs don't match your outputs. Businesses that have high creativity and high leverage tend to be ones where you could do an hour of work and it can have a huge effect, or you can do 1,000 hours of work and it can have no effect. One great engineer can, for example, create Bitcoin and create billions of dollars worth of value. An engineer who's working on the wrong thing or not quite as good or just not as creative or thoughtful or whatever can work for an entire year, and every piece of code that they ship ends up not getting used.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, piece of the business. You're not going to get rich renting out your time, renting out your time, renting out your time. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity to gain your financial freedom. Your financial freedom. Your financial freedom. Your financial freedom.
That you want to look for things that are leveraged, and by leverage I don't mean financial leverage alone like Wall Street uses, and that has a bad name. I'm just talking about tools. We're using tools. Computer is a tool that software engineers use. If I'm a lumberjack with bulldozers and automatic robot axes and saws, I'm going to be using tools and have more leverage than someone who's just using his bare hands and trying to rip the trees out by their roots. Tools and leverage are what create this disconnection between inputs and outputs. Creativity, so the higher the creativity component of a profession, the more likely it is to have disconnected inputs and outputs. So I think that if you're looking at professions where your inputs and your outputs are highly connected, it's going to be very, very, very hard to create wealth and make wealth for yourself in that process.
Akira. He's got clout.
People who are living far below their means enjoy a freedom that people busy upgrading their lifestyles just can't fathom. And I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom. And it just gives you freedom of operation. Once you make a little bit of money, you still want to be living like your old self, so that just the worry goes away. So don't run out to upgrade that house and lifestyle and all that stuff. Let's say you're going to pay $1,000 an hour. The problem is that when you go into a work lifestyle like that, you don't just suddenly go from making $20 an hour to making $1,000 an hour. That's a progression over a long career. And as that happens, one subtle problem is that you upgrade your lifestyle as you make more and more money. And that upgrading of the lifestyle ups what you consider to be wealth, and you stay in this wage slave trap. So I forget who said it, maybe it was Nassim Taleb, but he said the most dangerous things are heroin and a monthly salary. I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom, And I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom, The way you want to get wealthy is you want to be poor and working. And this is, for example, how the tech industry works, where you don't make any money for 10 years, and then suddenly in year 11, you might have a giant payday. Ideally, you want to make your money in discrete lumps, separated over long periods of time, so that your own lifestyle does not have a chance to adapt quickly. And then you can basically say, okay, now I'm done, now I'm retired, now I'm free. I'm still gonna work because you gotta do something with your life, but I'm gonna work on only the things that I want, when I want, and it's gonna be much more creative expression and much less about money. So I forget who said it, maybe it was Nassim Taleb, but he said the most dangerous things are heroin and a monthly salary. I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom, And I think that's very important, like just to not upgrade your lifestyle all the time, to maintain your freedom, Now I'm done, now I'm retired, now I'm free. Now I'm done, now I'm retired, now I'm free.
You're not going to get rich renting out your time, but you say that you will get rich by giving society what it wants, but does not yet know how to get at scale.
That's right. We talked about before, money is IOUs from society saying you did something good in the past, now here's something that we owe you for the future. And so society will pay you for creating things that it wants. But society doesn't yet know how to create those things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want. Almost everything in your house, in your workplace, and on the street used to be technology at one point in time. There was a time when oil was technology that made J.D. Rockefeller rich. Cars were technology that made Henry Ford rich. Technology is just a set of things, as Alan Kay said, that don't quite work yet. Once something works, it's no longer technology. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want. That's natural to you and within your skill set, within your capabilities, and then you have to figure out how to scale it. Because if you just build one of it, that's not enough. You got to build thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions or billions of them, so everybody can have one. Steve Jobs and his team, of course, figured out that society would want smartphones, computer in their pocket that had all the phone capability times 100 and be easy to use. So they figured out how to build that, and then they figured out how to scale it, and then they figured out how to get one into every first world citizen's pocket, and eventually every third world citizen too. And so because of that, they're handsomely rewarded, and Apple is the most valuable company in the world. First, it starts with an act of creativity. First, you create it just because you want it. You want it, and you know how to build it, and you need it, and so you build it for yourself. Then you figure out how to get it to other people, and then for a little while, rich people have it. Like, for example, rich people had chauffeurs, and then they had black town cars, and then Uber came along, and everyone's private driver was available to everybody. And now you can even see Uber pools that are replacing shuttle buses because it's just more convenient. And then you get scooters, which are even further down market of that. It's about distributing what rich people used to have to everybody. But the entrepreneur's job starts even before that, which is creation. Entrepreneurship is essentially an act of creating something new from scratch, predicting that society will want it, and then figuring out how to scale it and get it to everybody in a profitable way, in a self-sustaining way. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. Society always wants new things. And if you want to be wealthy, you want to figure out which one of those things you can provide for society that it does not yet know how to get, but it will want.
Meaning ways.
Let's look at this next tweet, which I thought was cryptic and also super interesting about the kind of job or career that you might have. You said the internet has massively broadened the possible space of careers. Most people haven't figured this out yet.
The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, is it connects every human to each other human on the planet. You can now reach everyone, whether it's by emailing them personally, whether it's by broadcasting to them on Twitter, whether it's by putting up a website they come and access. So the internet is an inter-networking tool. It connects everybody. That is its superpower. The internet means that you can find your audience for your product or your talent and skill, no matter how far away they are. Any niche obsession, people who collect snakes, people who like to ride hot air balloons, people who like to sail around the world by themselves as one person on a craft, or there's a show about a woman building people's houses and tidies it up.
Clean up your room.
So whatever niche obsession you have, the internet allows you to scale. Now that's not to say that what you build will be the next Facebook and reach billions of users, but if you just want to reach 50,000 passionate people like you, there's an audience out there for you. The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, it connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. That is its superpower. It connects everyone to everyone. It connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. So the beauty of this is that we have 7 billion beings on this planet. The combinatorics of human DNA are incredible. Everyone is completely different. You'll never meet any two people who are even vaguely similar to each other that can substitute for each other. It's not like you can say, well, Nivi just left my life, so I can have this other person come in and he's just like Nivi, and I get the same feelings, the same responses, and the same ideas. No, there are no substitutes for people. People are completely unique. So given that each person has different skill sets, different interests, different obsessions, it's that diversity that becomes a creative superpower. So each person can be creatively superb at their own unique thing. But before, that didn't matter, because if you were living in a little fishing village in Italy, your fishing village didn't necessarily need your completely unique skill, and you had to conform to just a few jobs that were available. But now, today, you can be completely unique You can go out on the internet and you can find your audience and you can build a business and create a product and build wealth and make people happy. Just uniquely expressing yourself through the internet. The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, it connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. That is its superpower. It connects everyone to everyone. It connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. The base of careers has been so broad. Esports players, people creating videos and uploading, bloggers, podcasters, and YouTube broadcaster. PewDiePie is the #1 trusted name in news. He's got 3 times the distribution of the top cable news networks. The internet enables any niche interest, as long as you're the best at it, to scale out. And the great news is, because every human is different, everyone is the best at something, being themselves. Escape competition through authenticity. When you're competing with people, it's because you're copying them. It's because you're trying to do the same thing. But every human is different. Don't imitate, don't copy, just do your own thing. No one can compete with you on being you. It's that simple. And so the more authentic you are to who you are and what you love to do, the less competition you're going to have. So you can escape competition through authenticity when you realize no one can compete with you on being you. The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, it connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. That is its superpower. It connects everyone to everyone. It connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. The fundamental property of the internet, more than any other single thing, it connects everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone. Everyone to everyone to everyone to everyone. Everyone is the best at something. Everyone is the best at something. Everyone is the best at something. Being themselves. Everyone is the best at something. Everyone is the best at something. Everyone is the best at something. Being themselves. And normally that would have been useless advice pre-internet. Post-internet, you can turn that into a career. All the benefits in life come from compound interest, whether it's in relationships or making money or in learning. Compound interest is a marvelous force. You start out with 1x what you have, and then if you increase 20% a year for 30 years, it's not that you got 30 years times 20% added on. It was compounding, so it just grew and grew and grew until you suddenly got a massive amount of whatever it is, whether it's goodwill or love or relationships or money. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games are good not just for compound interest, they're also good for trust. For example, you're in Silicon Valley where people are doing business with each other and they know each other, they trust each other, then they do right by each other because they know this person will be around for the next game. But essentially, if you want to be successful, you have to work with other people. You have to figure out who can you trust over a long, long period of time that you can just keep playing the game with them So that compound interest and high trust will make it easier to play the game and will let you collect the major rewards, which are usually at the end of the cycle. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people. So those people have to signal that they're going to be around for a long time, that they're ethical, and their ethics are visible to their actions. When you've been doing business with somebody, you're friends with somebody for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it just gets better and better. Because you trust them so easy, if the friction goes down, you can do bigger and bigger things together. For example, the simplest one is getting married to someone, having kids and raising children. That's compound interest, right? Investing in those relationships. Those relationships end up being invaluable compared to more casual relationships. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. All the benefits in life come from compound interest. Long-term games with long-term people. Long-term games with long-term people. High energy, and high integrity. That's the three-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. You need someone who's smart or they're heading in the wrong direction. You need someone high energy because the world is full of smart, lazy people. Everyone's smart at different things. So depending on what you want to do well, you have to find someone who's smart at that thing. And then energy, a lot of times people are unmotivated for a specific thing, but they're not motivated for other things. So for example, someone might be really unmotivated to go to a job and sit in an office, but they might be really motivated to go paint. Well, in that case, they should be a painter. They should be putting art up on the internet, trying to figure out how to build a career out of that, rather than wearing a collar around their neck and going to a dreary job. And then high integrity is the most important, because otherwise, got the other two, you have a smart and hardworking crook who's eventually going to cheat you. So you have to figure out if the person's high integrity. The way you do that is through signals, and signals is what they do, not what they say. It's all the nonverbal stuff that people do when they think nobody's looking. To work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. Take people to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the three-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. I almost won't start a company or hire a person or work with somebody if I just don't think they're into what I want them to do. When I was younger, I used to try and talk people into things. I was in this idea that you can sell someone into doing something, but you can't. You can't keep them motivated. You can get them inspired initially. It might work if you're a king like Henry V and you're trying to get them to just charge into battle, and then they'll figure it out. But if you're trying to keep someone motivated for the long term, that motivation has to come intrinsically. You can't just create it, nor can you be the crutch for them. Reading signals is very, very important. Signals are what people do despite what they say. We all know this socially. If someone treats a waiter or waitress in a restaurant really badly, then it's only a matter of time until they treat you badly. If somebody screws over an enemy and is vindictive towards them, it's only a matter of time before they redefine you from friend to enemy and you feel their wrath. Angry, outraged, vindictive, short-term thinking people are that way in many interactions in their life. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the 3-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. People are oddly consistent. It's one of the things you learn about them. So you want to find long-term people. You want to find people who seem irrationally ethical. That's the kind of person you want to work with. Self-esteem is a reputation that you have with yourself. You'll always know. Good people, moral people, ethical people, easy to work with people, reliable people tend to have very high self-esteem because they have very good reputation with themselves and they understand that. It's not ego. Self-esteem and ego are different things because ego can be undeserved, but self-esteem, at least you feel like you lived up to your own internal moral code of ethics. The more someone is saying that they're moral and ethical and high integrity, the less likely they are to be that way. It's very much like status signaling. If you overtly talk about being high status, that is a low status move. If you openly talk about how honest and reliable and trustworthy you are, you're probably not that honest and trustworthy. That is a characteristic of con men. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the 3-part checklist that you cannot compromise on. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. High energy and high integrity. High energy. People to work with that have high intelligence, high energy, and high integrity. That's the 3-part checklist that you cannot compromise on.
Don't partner with cynics and pessimists. Their beliefs are self-fulfilling.
Essentially, to create things, you have to be a rational optimist. Rational in the sense that you have to see the world for what it really is, and yet you have to be optimistic about your own capabilities and your capability to get things done. We all know people who are consistently pessimistic, who will shoot down everything. Everyone in their life has like the helpful, critical guy, right? He thinks he's being helpful, but he's actually being critical, and he's a downer on everything. That person will not only never do anything great in their lives, they'll prevent other people around them from doing something great. They think their job is to shoot holes in things. And it's okay to shoot holes in things as long as you come with a solution. There's also the classic military line, either lead, follow, or get out of the way. These people want a fourth option where they don't want to lead, they don't want to follow, but they don't want to get out of the way. They want to tell you why the thing's not going to work. And all the really successful people I know have a very strong action bias. They just do things. The easiest way to figure out if something's viable or not is by doing it. So if you want to be successful in life, creating wealth or having good relationships or even being happy, you need to have an action bias towards getting what you want. And you have to be optimistic about it. You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? You've got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? This is the beauty of Elon Musk and why I think he inspires so many people. It's just that he takes on really, really big, audacious tasks, and he provides an example for people to think big. Think big. And it takes a lot of work to build even small things. I don't think the corner grocery store owner is working any less hard than Elon Musk or pouring any less sweat and toil into it. Maybe even more. But for whatever reason, education, circumstance, they didn't get the chance to think as big, so the outcome's not as big. So it's just better to think big, obviously rationally within your means to stay optimistic. The cynics and the pessimists, what they're really saying, they're basically saying, I've given up. I don't think I can do anything. And so the world to me just looks like a world where nobody can do anything. And so why should you go do something? Because if you fail, then I'm right, which is great. But if you succeed, then you just make me look bad. He's got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? He's got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? This is the beauty of Elon Musk.
I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right.
There's a completely rational frame on why you should be an optimist. Historically, if you go back 2,000 years, 5,000 years, 10,000 years, two people are wandering through the jungle, they hear a tiger, one's an optimist and says, oh, it's not headed our way. The other one says, I'm a pessimist, I'm out of here. And the pessimist runs and survives, and the optimist gets eaten. So we're descended from pessimists. We're genetically hardwired to be pessimists. But modern society is far, far safer. There are no tigers wandering down the street. It's very unlikely that you will end up in total ruin, although you should avoid total ruin. Much more likely, the upside is unlimited and the downside is limited. Adapting for modern society means overriding your pessimism and taking slightly irrationally optimistic bets because the upside is unlimited. If you start the next SpaceX or Tesla or Uber, you can make billions of dollars of value for society and for yourself and change the world. And if you fail, what's the big deal? You lost a few $1 billion of investor money and they've got plenty more, and that's the bet they take, the chances that you will succeed. It made sense to be pessimistic in the past. It makes sense to be optimistic today, especially if you're educated and living in a first world country. The one thing you have to avoid is the risk of ruin. Ruin means stay out of jail, so don't do anything that's illegal. Stay out of total catastrophic loss. Stay out of things that can be physically dangerous, hurt your body. You have to watch your health, and stay out of things that can cause you to lose all of your capital, all of your savings. So don't gamble everything at one go. You take rationally optimistic bets with big upside. He's got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? He's got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? He's got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? He's got one life on this planet. Why not try to build something big? This is the beauty of Elon Musk.
I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right. Than pessimistic and right.
Silicon Valley has learned that the upside is so great that you never look down on the slobby kid who's wearing a hoodie and has like coffee at his shoes and just looks like a slob, because you don't know if he's going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg or the next Reid Hoffman. So you got to treat everybody with respect. You got to look up to every possibility and opportunity, because the upside is so unlimited and the downside is so limited in the modern world.
He's got clout.
If you want to make money, you have to get paid at scale. Why you? That's accountability. At scale, that's leverage. You getting paid as opposed to somebody else getting paid, that's specific knowledge. That's specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. Specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. We have this idea that everything can be taught. Everything can be taught in school. And it's not true that everything can be taught. In fact, the most interesting things cannot be taught. But everything can be learned. But everything can be learned. Very often that learning either comes from some innate characteristics in your DNA, or it could be through your childhood where you learn soft skills, which are very, very hard to teach later on in life, or it's something that is brand new, so nobody else knows how to do it either, or it's true on-the-job training because you're pattern matching into a highly complex environment. Specific knowledge is the knowledge that you care about, especially if you're later in life. Let's say you're post 20, 21, 22. You almost don't get to choose which specific knowledge you have. Rather, you get to look at what you have already built by that point in time, and then you can build on top of it. The first thing to notice about specific knowledge is that you can't be trained for it. If you can be trained for it, if you can go to a class and learn specific knowledge, then somebody else can be trained for it too. And then we can mass produce and mass train people. Heck, we can even program computers to do it. And eventually we can program robots to walk around doing it. So if that's the case, then you're extremely replaceable, and all we have to pay you is the minimum wage that we have to pay you to get you to do it, when there are lots of other takers who can be trained to do it. That's specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. Specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. Specific knowledge is found much more by pursuing your innate talents, your genuine curiosity, and your passion. Very often, specific knowledge is at the edge of knowledge. It's also stuff that's just being figured out, or is really hard to figure out. So, if you're not 100% into it, somebody else who is 100% into it will outperform you. And they won't just outperform you by a little bit, they'll outperform you by a lot. Because now we're operating the domain of ideas, compound interest really applies and leverage really applies. If you're operating with 1,000 times leverage and somebody is right 80% of the time and somebody else is right 90% of the time, the person who's right 90% of the time will literally get paid hundreds of times more by the market. So very often, it's not something you sit down and you reason about. It's more found by observation. You almost have to look back on your own life and see what you're actually good at. I wanted to be a scientist. The first person to actually point out my real specific knowledge was my mother. I was like 15 or 16 years old. I was telling a friend of mine that I wanted to be an astrophysicist, and she said, "No, you're going to go into business." And I was like, "What? My mom's telling me I'm going to be in business? I'm going to be an astrophysicist. Mom doesn't know what she's talking about." But Mom knew exactly what she was talking about. She had already observed. We walked down the street. I would critique the local pizza parlor on why they were selling their slices a certain way with certain toppings and why their process of ordering was this way when it should have been that way. So she knew that I had more of a business curious mind, but then my obsession with science combined to create technology, and technology businesses where I found myself. That's specific knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. knowledge. Feels like play to me. Specific knowledge. But it looks like work to others. So very often, your specific knowledge is observed and often observed by other people who know you well and revealed in situations rather than something that you come up with. To the extent that specific knowledge is taught, it's on the job. It's through apprenticeships, and that's why the best careers are the apprenticeship careers, because those are things that society still has not figured out how to train and automate yet. The classic line here is that Warren Buffett went to Benjamin Graham when he got out of school, and Benjamin Graham was the author of The Intelligent Investor and sort of modernized or created value investing as a discipline. And Warren Buffett went to Benjamin Graham and offered to work for him for free. And Graham said, actually, you're overpriced. Free is overpriced. And Graham was absolutely right. When it comes to a very valuable apprenticeship, like the type that Graham was going to give Buffett, Buffett should have been paying him a lot of money. And that right there tells you that those are skills worth knowing. Specific knowledge also tends to be technical and creative. So on the bleeding edge of technology, on the bleeding edge of art, on the bleeding edge of communication, even today, for example, there are probably meme lords out there on the internet who can create incredible memes that will spread the idea to millions of people. Incredible memes that will spread the idea to millions of people. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession. Follow your own obsession. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you can realize that, hey, actually, this obsession, I'll keep an eye out for the commercial aspects of it. But I think if you go around trying to build it a little too deliberately, if you become too goal-oriented on the money, then you won't pick the right thing. You won't actually pick the thing that you love to do, so you won't go deep enough into it. But I think it's important that one not start assembling things too deliberately, because you do want to pick things where you are a natural. Everyone is a natural at something. We're all familiar with that phrase, a natural. Oh, this person's a natural at meeting men or women. This person's a natural socialite. This person's a natural programmer. This person's a natural reader. So, whatever you are a natural at, you want to double down on that. And then there are probably multiple things you're natural at, because personalities and humans are very complex. We want to be able to take the things that you're natural at and combine them so that you automatically, just through sheer interest and enjoyment, end up top 25 or top 10 or top 5% at a number of things.
skills, you said that you should learn to sell, learn to build. If you can do both, you will be unstoppable.
This is a very broad category. There's two broad categories. One is building the product, which is hard, and it's multivariate. That can include design, that can include development, that can include manufacturing, logistics, procurement. It could even be designing and operating a service. It has many, many definitions, but in every industry, there is a definition of the builder, the seller, 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 the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpower. That's when you get selling has a very broad definition. Selling doesn't necessarily just mean selling individual customers. It could mean marketing. It could mean communicating. It could mean recruiting. It could mean raising money. It could mean inspiring people. It's a broad umbrella category. Generally, the Silicon Valley startup model tends to work best when you have two founders, one of whom is world-class at sales and one of whom is world-class at building. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak at Apple, Gates and Allen with Microsoft. There's a builder and there's a seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The builder, the seller, the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The builder, the seller, the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The real giants in any field are the people who can both build and sell. And usually, the building is a thing that, like, a salesperson can't pick up building later in life. It requires too much focused time. But a builder can pick up selling. If you're at the intersection of these two, don't despair, because you're not going to be the best technologist and you're not going to be the best salesperson. But in a weird way, that combination of two is unstoppable. The builder, the seller. The builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. The builder, the seller, the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. The builder, the seller, 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 the builder, the seller. The ultimate is when one individual can do both. That's when you get true superpowers. True superpowers. True superpowers. True superpowers. True superpowers. The foundation of learning is reading. I don't know a smart person who doesn't read and read all the time. The problem is, what do I read? How do I read? Because for most people it's a struggle, it's a chore. So the most important thing is just to learn how to educate yourself, and the way to educate yourself is to develop a love for reading. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. It's that simple. Everybody I know who reads a lot loves to read. And they love to read because they read books they loved. It's a little bit of a catch-22, but you basically want to start off just reading wherever you are, and then keep building up from there until reading becomes a habit. And then eventually you will just get bored of the simple stuff. You may start off reading fiction, then you might graduate to science fiction, then you may graduate to non-fiction, then you may graduate to science or philosophy or mathematics or whatever it is. But take your natural path and just read the things that interest you until you kind of understand them, and then you'll naturally move to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. It's that simple. At some point, there's too much out there to read. And even reading is full of junk. There are actually things you can read, especially early on, that will program your brain a certain way. And then later things that you read, you will decide whether those things are true or false based on the earlier things. So it is important that you read foundational things. And the ultimate is when you walk into a library and you look at it up and down, and you don't fear any book. You know that you can take any book off the shelf, you can read it, you can understand it, you can absorb what is true, you can reject what is false, and you have a basis for working that out that is logical and not purely just based on opinions. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read. It's that simple. The beauty of the internet is the entire Library of Alexandria times 10 is at your fingertips at all times. It's not the means of education or the means of learning are scarce. The means of learning are abundant. It's the desire to learn that's scarce. So you really have to cultivate that desire. And it's not even cultivated, you have to not lose it. Children have a natural curiosity. If you go to a young child who's first learning language, they're pretty much always asking, what's this, what's that, why is this, who's that? They're always asking questions. But one of the problems is that schools and our educational system and even our way of raising children replaces curiosity with compliance. And once you replace the curiosity with the compliance, you get an obedient factory worker, but you no longer get a creative thinker. And you need creativity. You need that ability to feed your own brain to learn whatever you want. Read what you love until you love to read. Read what you love until you love to read.